this lovely little card here, and I thought, why not pop on and make one with the rest of you as well. So probably if a few of you get notifications, you might pop on and join me, but everyone else, I'm sure you will be watching on the replay or on YouTube afterwards. So welcome, as I say. This card here, a new fold for me. I'm actually just exploring it for my next fun fold class, which will be in April. Yeah, in April next month. So I'm just exploring this fold just for that, just to see how it works for me. I'm just going to make sure that everything is working fine. No point everybody jumping on if you can't hear me or see me. That seems fine there. Okay, so it's actually it starts life, and if you have a look at it this way, you can see it starts life as one of my favourite my favourite book binding cards. You can see it's got that little bit of there which sort of pretends to be the spine, but the front of it turns miraculously into what's the word? An easel card with a lovely sort of diamond look of the front. So a diamond here on the front facing and a diamond on the base itself. So it's a book binding diamond easel card. I think I've seen it called online. So obviously a fair bit going on, fair bit of designer series paper. But as with my normal bookbinding cards, it's a perfect way of showcasing some beautiful designer series paper. This little guy here I have made with the Heart and Home suite. You can see it's got the sweet little flower there from the Heart and Home suite, the sentiment from it, and all this beautiful paper here as well from the Heart and Home bundle as well, featuring especially the lovely wood grain. So that's what I'm going to do, or that fold. I'm going to swap out the Heart and Home. I decided that I'd had heartily enough of that one. See what I did there? I had enough of that for the moment. I was trying to just feature it every card I did, but I thought maybe we need to swap away from Heart and Home and try something else. And at the moment, we're looking towards the end of our current annual catalogue at the end of April. So I thought I'd go back to some of our favourites from the annual catalogue, and I've got out my hand penned bundle, especially the designer series paper, which is absolutely lovely. Probably one that you've seen multiple times over the last 10 months or so, but I'm going to be using that. So it's got some nice pale papaya on one side and some really cute little flowers on the other. So I'm going to be using the hand penned bundle for this little book binding easel card. Now, don't worry about the measurements. I have actually already popped them on my website, and once I've made a picture of this card, I'll pop that up and make it public and pop a link on my Facebook page so you can follow along. So I'm starting with a card base of garden green, which is the green that's featured in that particular sheet of hand-penned designer series paper, and it is sorry, I'm turning it around and probably making you seasick. It's 11 inches by 4 inches, so I've trimmed 1/8 of an inch off my normal half size, so it's 11 by 4, and this just making it those round numbers helps keep all the measurements nice and simple. I have seen them done 11 by 4 1/4, and then you start getting 1/8 and 1/16 of an inch, which can be a little bit confusing. So anyway, so basically, as I said, 4 by 11. It's scored at 2. So that very first one there is at 2 inches. It's scored at 4 inches, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So as I say, nice and simple, 2, 4, 5 1/2, no 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch to be seen. Then we have to actually cut our first sort of diamond piece, and that's out of this end here where we've scored it close to the 2-inch end. So I thought rather than doing that before I prepared, I would show you guys how to do it, because not that it's tricky, but it's probably the trickiest part of this particular card. So I've got my trimmer, and as I said, I've already scored this one at 2, 4 and 5 1/2. So what you do while you've got it here, you mark along that short edge there, you mark that at 2 inches. She says, trying to find the 2 inches on her. I've got my trimmer around the wrong way, excuse me. Sorry. I was thinking that little mark, I'd already put a little mark. So as you're going, you basically grab your trimmer, and there's I know that mark there is a 2-inch mark on my trimmer, and I've popped a little tiny pencil mark just on the 4-inch end, the short end of our card base, just at 2 inches. So then all I'm going to do is rotate it a wee bit and cut, she says, trying to rotate it the right way, and cut from that 2-inch mark to the score, to the 2-inch score. So from the 2-inch score to the 2-inch mark on the short end. So just try and cut that. And you're basically just going to form a sort of V shape or a triangle shaped tab at the end of your card. So again, from the 2-inch score to the center of the 4-inch. If that makes more sense. So you end up with that little tab at the end there like that. Okay, so I don't think I need my trimmer anymore. I might pop that aside. Oh, ow, forgive the bang. Okay, so this really is our card base here. Don't need those little triangles anymore. Maybe you can use it for something else. I should be watching the chat. There's surprisingly a fair few of you on today for lunchtime. Nice to see you all. Hi, Vicky and Sue and Judy and Robin. Hey, Robin. And Jody and Barb. Hey, Barb. And Laura. Yeah, great. Thanks for joining me, guys. It must be the middle of the night for some of you in the Northern Hemisphere, but anyway, it's great to see you. So if you do jump on, please let me know where you are watching from. Okay, so this is basically our card base. So as I mentioned, this is sort of a bookbinding card. So the first thing we always do with a bookbinding card is seal that first section down. So just this little part here, this would be like 1.5 inches, and you just seal that, and hopefully you don't get huge amounts of glue, which like I've just got there. There we go. And so that seals that first little bit just down like that. You could trap a ribbon in there. I have seen some of them on Pinterest where they had a ribbon there. You know how if you've seen my previous videos with the bookbinding card, I will put a ribbon in there to highlight a ribbon from the bundle. Personally, don't see the point of that because, oh, excuse me, that's a little burp. When the card is up like this, you're not going to see. It's going to be at the back, and you're not going to see it behind the little easel that we have happening. So, yeah, so I haven't bothered. But if you wanted to sort of go all out, you could trap a little ribbon in there like we do with our previous, what are they called? Bookbinding cards. Okay, I have lots of other bits and bobs, but as I say, I've already put the pieces, the measurements in a little shareable for you, and I'll share those after I've photographed this card once we've finished. Okay, but what we've got with pale papaya is the contrast colour that we're using. So we've got various bits and bobs on pale papaya, and you can probably see where all these little pieces are going to fit. And then we've got some of our designer series paper as well, so we'll come back to those. Okay, so we can layer up with our pale papaya first. We've got a 3 7/8 square piece of pale papaya, which is going to basically fairly logically sit on the base of our easel. So I'll just attach that. And we will put that one on as square as we can. So that's just a very small 1/8 of an inch difference all the way around, or a 1/16 of an inch once you have it. There we are. Then we have two pieces of this size of the pale papaya. One of them is going to sit here, so it would be 3 7/8 by, what would that be, 1 7/8. And that's going to pop in there. And then we've got the same size, again in pale papaya, and that's going to sit up in here. Yeah. So as I say, I'm playing with this fold as one of the feature folds in my next fun fold class. So if you like what you see and you live in Australia and can buy my fun fold classes, please watch out for the April one. Obviously won't release that until the first week of April, but it's worth looking out for. This little one sits on the back there on our little bookbind spine, and that would be 1 3/8 wide. And then we've got these two little ones here, which are, I think, 2 3/4. Yeah, 2 3/4 square, and I've got two of those, and they're going to form our diamonds. I'll bring in our designer series paper first. So I've got just the same sheet of designer series paper, but we're going to be featuring both sides of it. So this is the front side, or the pattern side, I suppose, and that's going to sit on our little stage there. And I've got two pieces that correspond to the ones on the outside and that little one on the inside there. So these are just all lining up with our pale papaya sheets. All the measurements to be 1/8 of an inch smaller. As I say, I'll share those after the video if you hang around and watch. Oh, that one's not going there, that's going there. It was nearly a mistake. So this little one goes on the inside, and then I've got a narrower one for that spine. The little one there. Yeah, this side. I don't want to get too mixed up with my patterns versus my tone on tone. Okay, so we've got that there. That's quite sweet in itself. I love that garden green pale papaya combo happening. There we are. Okay, so there we have most of those fixed pieces of designer series paper on. Okay, we'll bring in our two squares. As I say, these are 2 3/4 square, and then we have the two corresponding squares of designer series paper. With these ones, I'm actually flipping the pattern down, and I'm going to use the tone on tone side to highlight that here, just to contrast the patterns on the rest of the card. I was thinking about this after I'd already cut these. I don't know whether this would stand out better if you popped it on a backing of garden green rather than the pale papaya, but once I had it cut, it was too late. And you guys know how much I hate wastage, so I'd already committed to the pale papaya, so that's what it had to be. Cool. So there we've got two squares. Now the first square is going to sit in a sort of diamond shape on the base of our little easel, just like that. So you can see what I mean. It probably would have been nice with a garden green rather than pale papaya, just to give it a bit more oomph, a bit more showing out, but we're too late now, that's fine. Pale papaya is one of my favourite in colours anyway, so I can live with that. That's going to sit there. So try and line the points of your diamond, north, south, east, west, or that sort of way as much as you can, so that it sits on, cuts your square into sort of nice even parts. There we are, like that. And this one here, this remaining one, is a bit more exciting. He actually sits on the front there. So the tip, the arrow that we actually cut when we cut those two triangles out, points down. A lot of easel cards will point up like that, which I suppose you could do. It would fit, it would go quite nicely like that, but I'm actually designed this one so it goes down like that, and it will sit up like that instead. So as I say, if you find yourself popping the glue on the wrong part and lining it up incorrectly, I don't think it matters too much whether it points up or down, but I'm going to point it down. And this one just showing that normal sort of 1/8 of an inch sort of edge of the garden green to the bottom half. So we've only glued the bottom half of our diamond to the card itself, so the top bit just sort of floats around, forming our diamond easel. Okay, hope everything's going well for everyone. I can see Deborah's jumped on. Hi. And Curly Top. Now, who's Curly Top? Is that a code for somebody? Anyway, I'm sure I'll find out later. So there is our easel. I think we've just gone a bit blurry. No, it doesn't seem too blurry there. It might just be my iPad. Okay, so now we can do our decorating. That's our easel actually done, so we can actually get some decorating done. So I might pop our easel aside to, um, what's the word, to dry, and then we'll bring in some basic white cardstock. I'm actually going to use both of the flowers from the hand-penned bundle, so the little one with the stalk here and the sort of the bunch of flowers in this one. I'm going to use both of them, so I'm going to stamp them in black. Now, you probably saw a spoiler here. I have actually done some already, die cut them and what's the word? And coloured them with blends. So I've coloured those with blends. We've got pale papaya, soft saffron, fresh freesia, and the flirty flamingo. So I've got those done. And the plan was to actually pop them on the card like this so that they sort of complement each other with the leaves and everything pointing out and around. But I thought I'll use that as a backup plan. I'm actually going to use the stamp set with the little infill stamps that come with it just to get a good bit of use out of the stamp. If I don't like what comes up, I'll revert back to my blended version that you've just seen, but hopefully it will be just fine. So I'm hoping I can get both of them onto this piece of paper because that was the plan. There we go. Okay, so that's our two little flowers there. Quite nice, quite cute. I've seen them just used on their own and nothing totally wrong with that at all. But as I say, I think I'm going to try and fill them with the infills of the stamp set. Stamp set comes with shapes that will fit nicely into the stamp set itself, into the outline. Okay, so this flower here has got that infill stamp. I can't say I've actually used it before, so we'll give that one a bit of a go. And sticking with the colour scheme, I think I'll stick with the colour scheme. Fresh freesia, I'm thinking. Do I really want fresh freesia though? I've got so many other choices. Let's have a think. Yeah, let's go fresh. No, I've changed my mind. We'll actually stick to the actual colours of the designer series paper, and I'm going to stick some of the flowers on the designer series paper are Blushing Bride. So I'm going to stick to Blushing Bride. Sorry to change mid-horse like that, mid-race. I'm going to use Blushing Bride for this one, and it's going to fit in. This is one of those stamps, those infill stamps that sort of fits in a sort of an approximate sort of way, if that makes sense. It doesn't fit exactly, but it fits roundabout, and that's sort of like an attempt at being sort of artistic, I suppose, on the designers. On the designer's side, they just wanted to sort of give a hint of the colour. So, as you can see, it leaves a little bit of white where we would expect colour, and it goes over the edges a bit. But that's all part of the plan, so don't panic about that. Then we've got various other little flowers that fit, as I say, approximately to the flowers around. So we've got this little one here. I'm going to might use Flirty Flamingo for that one. Did I get my Flirty Flamingo out? Yes. Oh, crash bang. Where'd I put that down? Put it down somewhere. Oh, there it is. Right in front of me. Right in front of my eyes. Use Flirty if you want. Stamp that off. It's quite a vibrant Flirty Flamingo. And there we are. We have our Flirty Flamingo second generation there. Then I'm going to bring my pale papaya in. So there's a nice big one here that fits the big flower on this second one. So we don't know at this stage whether the hand-penned bundle will continue into the next catalogue. This time of year is a sort of an interesting sort of middle time of the year where you sort of wonder whether your favourites are going to continue on next time or whether they're not. Are they going to stay? Are they going to go? So, it's a good time. We will know it's a good time to sort of bring out the favourites and see if there's any that you've missed from the catalogue that you want to grab, because you just don't know whether they're going to be coming back or not. We will get a list released towards the end of this month. Yes, so we'll know then. But at the moment, we're in sort of that unknown limbo land type time. That's why I sort of decided I wanted to bring this one out and give it a bit of a run for its money. I'm going to go pale papaya on this one up here as well. Here we are. And then I might do, actually I'll do pale papaya on that one also. So as I say, that they're very approximate, the colourings with these particular stamps, but we do have a little one here that's like a double flower. And I might bring the Blushing Bride back for that one. Here we go. I know my Blushing Bride looks a wee bit dirty. Something with the refill, I think, or my pad's getting a bit older. But anyway, the Bride's a bit worse for wear. Actually, I did see somebody online saying that they were a bit concerned about the colour of their Blushing Bride refill, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe there was an issue with it. Okay, so in the stamp set, which I've put somewhere, there's also some little leaves, so we're going to use those as well. And because I'm using the ink rather than the blend, I can actually use the garden green, which is good, which is one of the reasons I decided to do it this way, so that I could actually use the garden green, because there is not, sadly, a garden green blend. Oh, I just saw Sarah jump on. Hey, Sarah. Oh, and lots of other people. Thank you as well. So quite a strong colour, the garden green, as you can see there, even from the vision, the distance you are away. So I'm going to sort of do a combination of first and second generation, just to, it's not too over the top. And I suppose, as I say, because they are an approximate of the, they're an approximation of the stamp, it doesn't really matter whether you go close or not. Some go a bit closer than others by the looks of that. And then there's a little one as well, so I'll grab that out of the stamp set. Or have I already? Oh, there it is. And that is a good approximation to all these other little leaves that are around. There we are. Now that does mean that my stem is not coloured. So I've just decided that I'm going to bring out my Wink of Stella, which is a technique I've been using a little bit lately, and I'm going to use my garden green to colour that with my Wink of Stella. You could use your watercolour brush. Since I've been using my Wink of Stella for this sort of thing, and the point is just so fine, it's just really good. So it will do these little skinny stems quite well. There we go. Excellent. I'll just clean that off. Ooh. Bit too much there. Cool. Okay, so okay, so there we are. That's our flowers that I've stamped for the front of our little easel card. Hopefully you like those. As I say, not quite as exact as the ones that I have hand coloured with my blends. So you can see the difference there. That's the sort of the abstract sort of look of the stamping versus the sort of more sort of exact, complete blends. So you could go whichever way you want. I'm actually going to go with the stamped versions because I quite like the sort of hoopy, quite sort of abstract look of those. I'm going to bring in my little famous little friend, my mini cut and emboss. So I'm just going to cut these down slightly so that I can get them through the mini cut and emboss, because it only has a 3.5 inch stage, so I can pop those through if I chop them down a wee bit. I'll bring out my little friend. Here she is. Oh, I'm a bit crooked there. She has this great little dust cover that I bought from a lady online. If you'd like me to try and find her details, I'm happy to. I don't know. I've had it for quite some time, so I'm not sure that she still does them, but it's so cute, and the fabric is so nice. It just keeps the dust out. And you see, if you're like me, I don't use my mini probably as much as my big one, so it can sit here and get a little bit dusty. So having this little carry bag dust cover is very, very cute. So use my mini. There we go. Here's my plates. Nice to know I've actually sold a couple of the minis with the special on at the moment. So if you would like a mini for your craft room, they are actually 20% off at the moment, as are a fair few compatible bundles. And if you don't have a mini but you'd like one of the bundles, they are quite just as usable with, or equally usable with your big cut and emboss machines. So you can definitely you just take advantage of those sales without necessarily having a mini cut and emboss machine. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that on, and we do believe that thankfully the magnetic plates for both machines will be released soon. So apparently they have just about finished the development on those. So that's a little bit of, you heard it first here, that they are on their way, which is very good and will make my life a lot easier for both machines. There we are. So that's the first one. There's my garbage bin there. And we'll grab the second one. Little machine, I've got to say, it is wonderful with the space it takes in the craft room, like hardly any. And it's good for travelling and packing away if you're crafting with friends, or if you're off travelling and you want to take some crafting with you and you don't want to take the big machine, you just want to take something smaller. You do have to, as I said to a lady the other day, you do have to apply a little bit more pressure to keep it from bouncing around. And obviously the handle, you have to rotate that probably a little bit more than the other machine because it's working on a smaller what's the word? Smaller cycle, I suppose, a smaller cog. So you do have to turn it a wee bit more to get it to go through. But other than that, those are two things I sort of tell you if you're interested in buying one, but other than that, it works just as well and cuts beautifully, as you've just seen there. So anyway, that is 20% off in the South Pacific market anyway, 20% off till the end of March. And I'll just pop you aside. There we go. So we've got our two little flowers there to decorate our, and a fair bit of disruption to my craft space, but that's okay. Right, so we've got our two little flowers here to decorate our front-facing easel. So what I'm going to do is tuck that one just behind and put this one over the top. So it looks like a larger sort of bouquet, but with the two facets of our stamp set, just like that. So with my other one, I popped a ribbon behind it, but I really don't think I need a ribbon in this one. I think it's plenty going on there without the ribbon behind. As you can see, if I bring my Home and Hearth one in is a bit of the beautiful evening evergreen ribbon behind there, just to give it a bit more body. But I think because that set of flowers is a lot smaller, I don't think I actually need it with this one. Anyway, I'm going to glue this larger bouquet straight to the card base, making sure I only put the glue where it's going to come in contact with the card. Obviously, the idea of this one is that there's a fair bit that, oh, sorry, I've gone off the screen. There's a fair bit there that overlaps, so don't put too much glue there or you'll have a gluey mess. So I'm going to pop that there. Then I might bring in some dimensionals and give this front piece a little bit of 3D wow. There we go. So this one here. I'm really glad I brought in that Blushing Bride. I think that's really nice, even though it's looking a little bit dirty. Maybe that's the colour. Maybe it's intended to be sort of a bit more of a smoky colour. If anyone else has noticed that with their Blushing Bride, just let me know. Nice to know I'm not on my own. Got some more comments come up there. Hey, Jan. Jan's on her lunch break. Oh, you're working again today, Jan. This is the busiest retirement I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Much busier than mine. Okay, so I'll bring this one in. And as I say, I'm going to put this one over the top of that just so it sort of sneaks in and around and looks like all the same bouquet almost. There we are. How's that? That's sweet, isn't it? Yeah, I really like that. Okay, so just all about over bar the shouting now. I've got a strip of basic white cardstock. It's a 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to revert back to the sentiments I used on the original little card, the one I showed you first of all. So the Have a Perfect Birthday is from the Blessings of Home. Can't leave that out of the show completely. So I'm going to pop that on my little skinny strip of basic white. I'm just going to stamp it in black ink. You could use one of the colours we've used. You could use garden green, might be nice. I'm just going to use black. I'm going to try and bring that a little bit closer to myself, excuse me. It's just that I know that my sticker isn't on straight, so I have to line it up a little bit by eye. There we are. That's not too bad. Then what I'm going to do is bring in my banner punch, and I'm just going to banner both ends. Just to bring it back down. I think I bring this down to about 3.5 inches long from end to end for what we want to do with it next. So there we are. So we have a perfect birthday. So what I'm going to do is just to give this a little bit of something a little bit different, a little bit special. I'm actually going to take my pick tool, which was here a minute ago. Doesn't really matter what I've got. And I'm going to curl the middle of it to sort of like a peak. So it curls up a wee bit. Okay. And then both ends, I'm going to curl them up. So I'm sort of creating a bit of a wave with my sentiment box. So it goes up in the middle, down, and then up at both ends. So a little bit like that. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is grab a couple of dimensionals and try and work out where's the best place to do it. A couple of little dimensionals, and I'm going to stick it on across my front of my card like that. So it does actually stick up a wee bit across the top of our little, the stem of our little flowers. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals. Where are they? Here. So the reason I'm popping them on there is because I sort of have to work out where's the best place to put them to get the best attachment. So I'm going to pop it just under the H there. And where's the other one? sure that that's on. So I don't want it to overlap the end of the card too much. It needs to stick on that little easel around there. Okay, so there's our two little dimensionals on either end. Just bring that in, trying to avoid where I already have something happening. And pop that, don't stick yet, I'm not ready. Pop that on there. Okay. Hopefully that looks relatively straight. Yes, it does. Okay, so that's our little sentiment there, as I say, with a wee bit of a kink in it, which sort of makes it look a bit more special there, sticking up like that. Might make it a wee bit tricky to get in an envelope, but hey, maybe I've put a little bit too much curl on that. Maybe I should have put them a little bit further apart. I wonder if I can without destroying it. There we are. Yeah, doesn't stick out quite as much now. You could probably get that in an envelope pretty easy. There we go. So there's the front done. I might bring in some bling in a minute, but I think that's pretty much finished. Okay, so for our little piece here, as with most easel cards, we need a foot to stop the easel from falling forward. I'm not going to use anything from the Blessings of Home there. I didn't quite think they were appropriate. So we've got Have a Perfect Birthday. I'm going to put From the Special Moments, which is a celebration freebie, which you can still get with a $180 purchase, for someone who is wonderful in each and every way. So I think that's quite nice. The fonts are slightly different, but I don't think it makes too much difference there. Combination of, since this one's in full capitals and this one is in full lowercase, they're sort of not blaringly different. So I'll grab my block. I've got a fairly smallish stitched rectangle there, just purely from the stitched rectangle dies. And it fits this pretty much exactly, which is great with Stampin' Up, because you know that they've designed something to fit perfectly, and in this case it's this one. Beautiful. Okay, so that's how For Someone Who Is Wonderful in Each and Every Way. So I'll bring that in. I'm going to grab some dimensionals for the back of that, some big ones. So I might use my ends. That's a good use of ends or edges. Thank you to everyone for the wonderful response I got from my last card that I went live with over the weekend, sort of a yellow and blue sunflower design. It's just got so many lovely comments about that. So if you haven't seen it, please pop to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. They're both there. But I think I was, yeah, I really appreciate all the lovely comments. Especially at the moment in the world being a bit scary. It was nice to at least feel that I was with everyone in spirit at least. Okay, so just going to pop this on. So with your foot of your easel card, you also have to position your foot so that your easel card sits as high or as low as you wanted. If I want it to sit really high, I have to bring my foot back a bit. If I'm happy for it to sit forward a little bit, I'll bring the foot forward a bit. Sort of going to meet myself halfway here and sort of go just there. Hopefully that's fairly central. Yep, not bad. And there we are. And the good thing about this particular diamond point easel, it just sits so well. Often with some of the previous easel cards I've done, the front of the easel sort of doesn't quite latch under, and sometimes it'll fall forward regardless of how high up the foot is. But because this is quite a sharp tip, it fits in there, and baby, it's going nowhere. It's just perfectly in there. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so there. So that's the easel done. I'll bring that into that sort of position so you can see that quite easily. But I really like that. That is so nice. So as I say, watch out in my next fun fold class, this one. Well, something similar to this, obviously, not this particular one because it doesn't, it has to be a fun fold, not a stamped card. But there's something similar to this will definitely make it to that particular class. What I thought I'd do is use just a bit of bling. I did bring them over. Where did I put them? Bit of bling, 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 bling. Here we go. I'm going to use the 21, 23 in colour jewels, the blingiest things you've ever seen. There is a nice pale papaya one, but I actually thought I'd get a little bit more oomph if I used the evening evergreen ones because they'll stand out a little bit nicer, a little bit more. But let's have a little look. I'll do a bit of testing because I hadn't actually thought about what I was going to use before. In my other one, the first one I showed you, because it was using the Home and Hearth bundle, I actually used the little enamel dots that come with the Home and Hearth, which are the classic matte dots. So they come in white, cream, grey and black. So I've used the black ones on there. And they look quite nice against the wood grain of that particular DSP as well. So, but this time we definitely need some bling. So let's have a look at what colour we're going to use. Yeah, I'm right. The green sort of stands out more, but I'm not sure that I like the way they do stand out. I might actually stick to the pale papaya ones since that's seems to be the feature colour. So they're not going to stick out as much, but they'll add that little bit of shimmer. So I'm just going to pop a couple of those around the place. A couple more. Got to have 5 or an even, got to have an odd number, I'm told. And I don't want to ruin anyone's day by not going with that tradition, so I'll add 5. Just like that. There we are. Okay, so we've just got that wee bit of bling happening there as well. You can see them, yeah, glittering in the sun, which is moving on from my craft room, so I don't have any sun rays to fight with today, which is a good time to do it. Actually, I've decided this is probably not a bad time to be in the craft room because the sun has moved on. Anyway, so there you are. That is my, what we're calling it, a bookbind diamond easel card. Can't say that I'm wholly responsible for it, but I did find it on Pinterest. So, but this one is totally me with the hand penned bundle there, which is really, really nice. So hopefully you like that one. Hopefully you'll watch out for future videos. Please like, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe my channel, and then you'll actually get notifications when I go live. As I say, if you think of anything that I can do to improve the quality of my videos, please let me know. I'm quite happy to take constructive criticism since basically now this is what I do. So since I've quit my job, this has become my day job. So it's really quite exciting. But hopefully you like that one. Give it a go. Let me see what you come up with. If you do, here's our Home and Hearth one as well. Fundamentally the same. They close up like this. It's quite sweet the way they close up. Sort of just fold flat. So they look a bit like a normal bookbind card when you do it that way, but extra special when you open them up like that. Anyway, as I say, all the measurements, I've already done them. They're ready to go over on my website. So watch out for the link. I'll place it into YouTube description and to my Facebook page as well. So you can pop over and get the measurements for these. Anyway, so have a great day. Remember, celebration has been extended in the South Pacific through to the 16th of March. So if you would like to shop, host or join Stamping Up and get the great specials for celebration, you have now 9 more days to do so. Anyway, if you've got any questions about that, please let me know. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Have a great afternoon, have a great week, and I will see you all again